All right. What's going on, guys? Cop Pizzle. And I've got another special guest with me tonight from Rover Sports, Spencer himself. What's going on, Spencer?
Oh, Top, it's a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for having me on your channel, and thank you for inviting me.
Okay. Before we get to it, I need to do a little bookkeeping, okay?
Okay.
So just sit back and relax for a second, and I have to do a little YouTube business, okay? Mark Holmes, you do not need to be making any more videos this week on YouTube until you beg Cop Pizzle to have the Giants beat the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday so your Dallas Cowboys can survive another week for this season. Okay? I don't want to hear any more from you. You need to beg. Simple as that. They need to bend the knee, Spence. What are you thinking about the Giants Eagles game this upcoming Sunday, Spence?
It's an unbelievable opportunity. I was at the Eagles Cowboys game, and I actually wanted to see the road team win and see the Eagles season eliminated. But it was pretty sad. You know, the Dallas Cowboys, they're all pretenders, they're frauds, and they really have to beg for the New York Giants
Yeah.
to beat Philly. And I can't wait for this opportunity. You were calling it 3 weeks out, and I love that it's a 4:30 game. Daniel Jones playing great football, and it would be a dream come true because all these Eagles fans, they expect to go into the playoffs, win a wild card game. Everybody's on Carson Wentz. Everybody's on Doug Peterson. And for the Eagles to just come crashing down to the New York Football Giants in Eli's last game, it would just be a storybook ending, absolutely.
So, for those that don't know, tell everybody. First of all, you need to subscribe to Rover Sports. Um, but tell everybody about your channel and kind of what you look to do on there.
Yeah, so my channel is I do a lot of NFL film reviews of quarterbacks. I do a lot of NFL storylines. I do college football. I'll even dabble into college basketball and the NBA, but I'm mostly an NFL channel. But I'm really a New York Giants fan at the core, and that's why I love talking Giants football with yourself, and I love having guys like yourself, you know, Chris the Entertainer, Bad Dog, those guys, and, on YouTube. So YouTube's a great platform, but yeah, my channel is mostly about the NFL and college football.
So, obviously, you're a Giants fan, and we spent most of the draft night together in Nashville.
Yes,
Most of
we
it.
did.
We hooked up and we spent a lot of time together. And we were not together when the Daniel Jones pick happened, but we were together when Dexter Lawrence had been picked. Um, where do you stand at this point with Dave Gettleman and everything that he has done? I'll get to Pat Shurmur in a moment, but give me your
Right.
thoughts about Dave Gettleman as far as this season and what you think the future holds for him with the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, so Cop, the funniest thing is that you and I are mostly all on the same wavelength with just about everything, with a lot of opinions. You know, you're a smart guy. Um, it's really funny. So Dave Gettleman is totally my guy, and whatever the Giants fan base, whatever primarily a lot of them want, is usually the complete opposite of how I feel. They
Mm-hmm.
wanted Dwayne Haskins. They didn't want to touch Daniel Jones. Selecting Daniel Jones pissed off the Giants fans, and it really is looking like a tremendous pick. The Odell Beckham trade, the fan base rioted, but me and you said that this is the best thing for the organization. Dave Gettleman absolutely needs more time to build because I look at this team and on the defensive line, Cop, this run defense is getting really good with Big Cat Williams. With the guy like Dexter Lawrence is really playing well against the run. You have Darius Slayton, Saquon Barkley. I just think that Dave Gettleman deserves an opportunity to continue to build this plan for this New York Giants team. And Shurmur is a pretty crappy coach. James Bettcher is completely in over his head. I know I'm going on a tangent now, but I like what Dave Gettleman is doing. And he's really trying to build an offensive line. And you're seeing yesterday, Cobb, you're seeing Will Hernandez start to figure it out in year 2. You're starting to see Zeitler and John Jalapeno. You're starting to see some of the offensive line form, and they have the best offensive line that they've had in like 5 years. So these New York Giants fans that want to fire Gettleman, you got to give the guy an opportunity, you know. And I'm a fan of Dave, and I really want to see him finish this job, finish his plan.
Absolutely. So not only does Mark Holmes need to bend the knee, but South of Heaven 88 Moss, you need to bend the knee, and so does Shango. Now, I have an opinion, Spencer, I've started to formulate, that I actually don't think this roster is all that bad. I just feel like the coaching is not up to snuff. That the coaching is where I feel like this Giants team has talent. Matter of fact, almost a month ago, Brennan Jacobs came out and said that he felt like this team had more talent than the Super Bowl teams, which kind of makes me think that he's even taking a shot at the coaching. But I just feel like this team does have talent. This team has a little bit of an experience, but the biggest problem is coaching. I feel like the coaching has to be fixed heading into the 2020 season.
I would agree with you. I don't want Gettleman to get fired though, Kyle.
I'm good with Gettleman staying. I like that's what I'm getting at. I feel like the roster is not as bad as people have made it out to be. I think Gettleman has done a pretty good job getting some pieces. We'll talk about Big Cat in a minute, but I've seen good enough flashes from him that I'm all about bringing him back. I think there's been a couple gems that Gettleman's been able to find. For example, Darius Slayton. Now this emergence of Caden Smith, who was drafted by the Niners in the 2019 draft, and he's looking Gates. And there's other moves. Now people always want to pinpoint the bad ones, right? Alec Ogletree's not a good one. People love to bring up Jonathan Stewart, even though that was a year ago. They didn't want Daniel Jones to work out. They really didn't. They wanted Daniel Jones to be bad so that they could talk negative about Gettleman. But the fact is, you really can't say a whole lot of negative other than Daniel Jones, other than the fact that, he has some fumbling issues, but he's going to figure that out in the offseason. To me, this all comes down to coaching and preparation and making sure that the team is run a little bit better than what it's currently being run at. I don't think there's anything wrong with what Gettleman has done. Every GM is going to hit or miss, but the coaching is and the blueprint and the game plan is what has to improve.
Well, you know what's concerning, Cop, something that I don't understand, is that Dave Gettleman has taken opportunities to draft cornerbacks. He has addressed the secondary, whether it's DeAndre Baker, Sam Beal, Corey Ballantyne. He spent a lot of capital trying to invest in the secondary. And I just think James Bettcher, this is what I'm really hoping for, Cop. I'm hoping that James Bettcher's scheme is so awful because yesterday you saw DeAndre Baker 12 yards off of the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 6. And it just looks like these guys are being really mismanaged in terms of they're not being taught how to play football at the NFL level. And I'm just praying that it's James Bettcher's fault. We just need one of these cornerbacks to hit. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm really worried about Gettleman is if these corners continue to suck. And it's too early to really judge these young players. And for everybody that wants to insult Nate Solder, who were you getting besides Nate Solder? There's no other option.
Well, I get that. I understand that. I think they went a little aggressive on that contract. But in my opinion, and this goes back to the Chase, this we'll get to our Chase Young discussion here in a little bit. But,
Right.
to me, the biggest need heading into this offseason is continuing to find a way to protect Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Because those two guys, in my opinion, are the merchandise, and if you can't protect the merchandise, you have no goods. We cannot afford to have Daniel Jones get hurt next season, because there's not going to be an Eli there to back him up, and so if we lose Daniel Jones, then that's the season in itself. So, to me, if we can continue to work on that offensive line and improving that, the offense can be in pretty good shape. Obviously, the defense has a lot of work, but here's the thing. I mentioned this the other day in my post-game video, that it's not out of the question, with all of the draft picks that the Giants have already have acquired for the 2020 draft, it's not out of the question. I understand they spent something. They spent one, obviously, on Big Cat, which I don't think was we'll get to that too. I don't think that was a bad deal. But with all the things that the Giants have, I just think that there is a possibility that if they really wanted Chase Young, they could move to the first overall pick and get him if they really wanted him. But at the same time, they have to continue to improve on that offensive line at the same time. Either that or Solder has to get better in 2020.
Yeah, Cobb. I just think that I would actually like a defensive, like a pass rusher in this draft, because the offensive line class is going to be so deep, and I just want a guy that can get to the passer. And even though it's not going to be Chase Young, if you get another good edge rusher, because pass rushers are the primary, they're the toughest thing to find. And if you get a pass rusher, the secondary is going to get a lot better. So,
but it's not out of the question.
It's the defense that I think is the problem.
It's not out of the question that they can't trade up and go get him.
Right. And also, you don't know if he's going to go to school or not. You don't know.
You still don't know. You still don't know that.
He could go back to. Well, the Bengals can take him. I'm to the point now, Top, where Dave Gettleman was in such bad position this year. Like, say the Giants didn't beat Miami or Washington, there's a chance Dave Gettleman wouldn't be coming back next year. And I've loved everything that Gettleman has done. The Odell Beckham trade took big balls to execute.
Which was
Landon
right.
Collins saw his carcass out on the field yesterday.
Caden Smith killed him.
It was so important, I think, for us to keep Gettleman going forward. And just these young kids need to learn how to win games.
If you think about it, Gettleman's big.
I just got so damn sick of losing. I was happy to win yesterday.
Gettleman's big ball moves, if you will, have pretty much all panned out. His big ones, the ones that have made big publicity. Now the little ones, not all the little ones, but the big ones have all worked out. The OBJ trade has worked out, right? Darius Slayton has completely made the Giant fans forget about OBJ, and OBJ's been terrible in Cleveland. Zeitler's been good. I thought has been pretty good for the Giants, if not the best offensive line the Giants have had all year long. Landon Collins clearly is terrible. Is not that good in coverage. And yesterday,
Harrison, bye-bye.
Yeah, clearly yesterday. And then Daniel Jones, the Daniel Jones pick, which was ridiculed, but looks like yesterday was his best game. And you can tell me all about the talent who the Redskins had on the field. The bottom line is he looks like he is going to be a force in 2020. So all of the big nut moves that Gettleman has made have worked out. Now, again, you can pinpoint small ones, but they don't ever want to do that. So Giant fans, majority of them, Spencer, went nuts when we won the game. And I guess they went nuts the last 2 weeks because they think that they're so concerned about draft positioning. why do they not understand that we still have to build a winning culture first before we bring in talent?
I mean, I think that maybe like with social media and some outlets, I mean, we've never, seen people hype up like the draft and these prospects like they are doing. And it's kind of disappointing. And you know what? Chase Young is not going to, if the Giants like ended up losing these games, like one player is not going to transform the New York Giants. And it is going to be a little bit annoying when some fans are going to, if Chase Young ends up being a sensational player, which he could end up being, a lot of Giants fans are going to point back to this game, as their evidence.
Well,
but I just think it's a losing mentality.
Yeah.
And this team just needs to learn how to win games. And we already figured out. I mean, we could also talk about the coaching staff, but also say Chase Young gets hurt, right? Say something happens to Chase Young, like Bo Jackson. It's just a crapshoot.
Yeah, it is.
Bradley Chubb got injured.
There's no guarantee.
Chase Young is a great player. The Bosas were great were fantastic at Ohio State. It's a little like O.J. Simpson with teams tanking. They wanted him, and I think also it's not even a quarterback. If Tua was fully healthy and the Giants didn't have a quarterback, that would be one thing. But yeah, it's just a losing mentality.
So I was genuinely excited, and I want to give Dylan some credit because he kind of reminded me on this. I was genuinely excited about the Giants beating the Redskins yesterday. I was fired up, made a post-game video, really excited. And most of the comments in the video were, well, you're stupid because you just hurt your draft positioning. And obviously, when you get a bunch of negative comments, you start questioning if you're even right on the whole subject because the majority says, well, you were stupid for wanting to win, which I don't feel that way. I've always wanted the Giants to win. I don't care what they do. I want them to win. And then a video surfaces, and I see this morning, and I don't know if you saw this, Spencer, but there was a video last night, or this that I saw this morning that where Daniel Jones and Eli Manning were partying. It looked like Golden Tate was there too. Were partying and playing a looked like a fun, very friendly game of flip cup. Did you see this video?
Oh yeah, that video was spectacular.
So here's the thing: they're having a good time. They're smiling. They're excited, and I automatically go back to I'm glad that they won because losing all of the time has got to wear on them mentally. It has to be something that I'm not getting the job done. Obviously, I think it wore on Eli over the last few years, even though it wasn't all of his fault. Daniel Jones had technically, going into yesterday's game, I believe, his own personal 8-game losing streak. So he hadn't won a game since the other previous Redskin game. So he broke a losing streak of his own because obviously he didn't play against the Dolphins. So winning is what it's all about. It's not about draft picks. It's not about draft status. It's the draft, in my opinion, is one of the most overrated things in all of sports. It's fun. It's exciting. It's great to, wake up on Christmas and have gifts underneath the tree. That's kind of what the draft reminds me of this big day that we all wait for, and you get a new toy on your team. But to me, it's all about winning. And when you complicate things and you stop forgetting what it's really about, to me, you lose sight of what being a fan is or supporting a team.
And then you become Cleveland or Washington or the Miami Dolphins.
Absolutely. I mean, how many high draft picks have the Cleveland Browns have had over the years, and what is it accomplished? What is it given them?
Exactly.
They don't have a winning culture.
It goes back to Dave Gettleman too. it all circles run for Dave Gettleman because you don't just want to fire people and be impulsive with decision making, or you're going to end up like Cleveland, who's probably going to fire Freddie Kitchens and all of that. But you're so right about everything. And Top, the New York Giants and John Mara, I really got Eli situation. It couldn't have worked out any better. Was Eli beating the Miami Dolphins, playing a couple of really good football games, and then Daniel Jones coming back fully healthy, Saquon Barkley. Remember people said to shut down Saquon Barkley? That game yesterday meant so much for Saquon Barkley. He was an absolute
crazy
star. And Saquon Barkley, I just love the kid's character.
Yeah, it's crazy that you said, and you just got my blood. You literally got my blood boiling for a little bit. You're right. They did start mentioning shut down Saquon, and he has his best game of the year. I mean, why do they not understand that? If they're able to go out and beat the Eagles on Sunday, you're going to go into the offseason with a 3-game winning streak, potentially playing spoiler. You can build off of that heading into next season. There is something to build on with the young core, with Daniel Jones, with Saquon Barkley, with Darius Slayton, with Dexter Lawrence. You can build on this winning streak and feel good about yourself going into mini camps, going into the offseason programs, and come out firing when next September hits. I mean, I just don't understand.
I'm going to ask you, I'm going to just present their side of the argument, and this is the golden question for you, Todd.
Okay.
Ready for the golden question?
Hit me with it.
What is the point? This is a decent argument that the other side's going to make. They're going to say, what is the difference between last year? Because last year the Giants, they almost beat the Colts. They beat Washington. They had that game in San Francisco, winning in overtime. What's the difference between this year's surge and last year's surge? And last year's surge didn't beat Jack Smith,
Well, here's the thing. I will. You're right. Last year we did have matter of fact, I believe the last 8 games last year we went 4-4, and we would have been it did feel pretty good heading into, obviously we didn't make the playoffs, but if everything seemed like, okay, 2019 might not be a bad year. The difference to me is that now you're looking at your future with Daniel Jones rather than questioning if Eli still can go another year or not. That to me is a little bit different. In addition to that, I didn't feel like our defense was all that shaped up a year ago. And now with some of the younger core that we have in pieces, we've had a lot of these secondary guys play a lot of minutes this season. And I think that experience is going to be invaluable to them heading into next year. I think DeAndre Baker is going to be fine. I think Valentine, I think Sam Beal is going to be fine. These guys just need more time on the field. They need more experience. And to me, what's happening this December is going to be critical for us next September.
I agree with you, and this is a new rookie quarterback, and the difference between this year and last year is, the Band-Aid, the Janoris Jenkins cutting actually was great too, because the Band-Aid's completely ripped off. You're now looking at it completely, the new plan is completely in place with Beal, Valentine, and all of these young kids playing football. Now, the thing is, I do have to admit, yesterday was a big day for Pat Shurmur, and I'm sure yourself and other Giants fans are now thinking about
I don't think Pat Shurmur can save his job. I honestly think
even with an emphatic win on Sunday.
I think even if they beat the Eagles, Pat Shurmur is going to go. It's tough. I'll be honest.
If they beat the Eagles thoroughly, I'm telling you, I would not. I'm very 50-50.
Here's the thing. Somebody's head will roll. Whether if Pat Shurmur doesn't go, then for sure James Betcher's going.
I think James is dead.
Yeah, James is dead.
He's dead gone.
Yeah, James is dead for sure. Put him in a body bag. He's out of here. I still think Shurmur, even with the win over the Eagles, is not going to be enough for him. Now, I will say this. I think the Giants have botched. You said that you thought that the Giants, handled the Eli Manning thing beautifully. They botched it at the start, but here at the end, they've kind of cleaned it up and made it a little bit better.
Well, What do you mean that you didn't like that he was benched before the Tampa game?
Well, I thought first of all, after the second game, they pulled the plug way too early. Now, Daniel Jones, you could make the argument that Daniel Jones is the reason why we won the Tampa game. However, I could also pinpoint other games that I think Daniel Jones potentially cost us the game. So, you could kind of go back and forth on that. However, to me that they pulled the plug a little bit too early on Eli. And if they were going to pull the plug on him that early, they should have went into last offseason basically letting Eli know that they were going to go ahead and move forward and have Daniel Jones ready to go. Unless they drafted Daniel and said, crap, man, this guy's actually better and ready to go quicker than we thought. The biggest problem that Gettleman has had, and even maybe Pat Shurmur, is they have not had a great understanding of when the actual rebuild started. They tried to even last year. They went into last year not with that mindset that they were going to rebuild. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the year, they said, okay, we're going to start the rebuild now. We're going to start trading folks. We're going to start letting them go. And then
Betcher's just been so atrocious that's why the team hasn't been able to compete like an Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, but Betcher, here's why another thing why I think Betcher's going to go. Because Betcher has had every opportunity with players coming in and out of the defense to help him mold his defense in the way it needs to happen, and nothing works. Nothing. I mean, you take pieces and you put pieces in, you take pieces out, you put other pieces in, and nothing's ever working. So our defense has not allowed us to win some games this year. Our offense has done some pretty good things game in and game out. Some games obviously better than others. But
yeah,
the defense has really not had that one big game that they can say that's our victory.
Defenses you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah,
the New York Giants defense, and that's why, like even yesterday, they made Case Keenum out to be a rock star. They made Dwayne Haskins look like
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins was looking. Yeah,
it's embarrassing watching, and you can't win games like that. I mean, when it's 3rd and 13 on your own 20-yard line, and you're giving up a dang touchdown, and these guys are just lost, and that's why they've lost some games. If their defense would have been competent, I think the Giants could have been 7-9. I won't disagree with you about pulling the plug on Eli Manning, because I think Daniel Jones, this is really going to help Daniel Jones in the long run of him playing a lot of these games. And the second thing that I'm going to say about Eli Manning's situation, if Daniel Jones goes on to start and be a Giants legend and be like a 12-year franchise quarterback, these $20 million would be invaluable. Because yesterday's scene of them going to that bar, partying together, Eli Manning is like his uncle. He's like his dad. And he's showing Jones the ropes. And I actually think it's a beautiful thing. I actually think it could be worth it.
Well,
Eli Manning.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, I get that. It's just I just wish the Giants would have done just either they shouldn't have went in the idea that okay, we're just going to give Eli 2 games here. I just
you know what, maybe could have brought in like a McCown and saved the $20 million, maybe maybe. But remember, Eli lost to the Cowboys the last week, and also you don't know about the draft.
So
you don't know about the Jones at the draft.
So here's the thing. I think Sunday's game is very important for not only the Eagles and not only the Cowboys, but I think it's very important for the Giants. This is going to be whether anybody wants to talk about who the Giants are, for the young guys on this team, this is going to be a playoff game for them. This is because you potentially have an opportunity to play spoiler. This is your first opportunity to make a huge impact on the season. You beat the Eagles, you ruin their season. Simple as that. Because I think the Cowboys are going to beat the Redskins. You ruin the Eagles' season, and that's a big. Obviously, it's not the ultimate prize, but that is something you can tremendously build on going into next season. To me, this game against Philly is huge. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
To me, this game is more important than just some draft pick. I know that some people will think that's crazy, all this and that, but with the guys that we already have on this roster, most notably the quarterback and the running back, who are supposed to be the leaders for next season, this is your opportunity to take this team and lead by example, by not just words, but by example. You go and have a big game against Philly, who has everything on the line. You can go ahead and get respect in that locker room quickly.
Yeah, this would be a team that would endear themselves to the fan bases forever. Well, if the Giants can win this game, we'll remember this one for sure because we hate Philly, their number one rival. I don't see a path to victory though, Top, because the Eagles, they always dominate the line of scrimmage against us. So Saquon Barkley, can the offensive line actually block for Saquon? And then this defense, man, I mean, let him keep, he looks like he's 38 years old, letting him come back to the point. I mean, even your local high school defense could have guarded against Keenum. So you look at the Eagles' strength, Top, and their tight ends are damn good.
Yeah.
And gosh dang, I know that a lot of Eagles fans are going to be at the game in New York, so I really hope the Giants fans go and don't just give away the seats because that'll just be embarrassing. And they need to freaking show up, though. I don't want to get laughed off the field, but I definitely don't think the Giants can win. I'm very worried about the game.
Well, here's the thing. The Eagle fans love to tell Giant fans about how much they've dominated them over the years. And the Eagle fans are right. They've had the Giants' number. However, you play spoiler and you make a big impact and you eliminate them. Boy, that's a big punch in the gut. Something that they'll have to live with all offseason, that they lost to the helpless New York Giants, supposedly, and ruined their season. Obviously, that would have given the Cowboys the opportunity to go into the playoffs, but honestly, the Cowboys are soft, and they don't have the ability to make a run. And I don't think Philly does either. However, Philly, they seem to be a little bit of a tougher team, both mentally and physically, and
no doubt about it.
They could, I guess, theoretically, and I don't know how they would beat teams like the 49ers or even the Ravens, but they could go on a run. I don't think the Cowboys can. I just honestly don't.
I think the Eagles, with the way that their defense kind of playing, Doug Peterson's an aggressive coach. He steps up in the big games. You have to hand it to him.
You got to give props to him.
Against the Chicago, and trust me, we hate Eagles more than anybody. But against that Chicago Bears team, they were not the better team. I thought Chicago's defense was fantastic last year, and Chicago let those suckers in, and the Eagles won. And then against the Saints, boy, did they play the Saints well in that game.
Yeah,
so it's tough.
The Eagles have an opportunity, if for nothing else, if they got in the playoffs, if they beat the Giants on Sunday, they have the ability to win at least one game in the playoffs. Now, at that point, after that, it's all, they're going to have to get hot and catch some breaks, I think. But the goal here is if the Giants can't win the Super Bowl or the Giants can't get there, I sure as hell don't want the Philly or Cowboys to get there. So, for me, the lesser of the two evils is for Dallas to get in because I don't think that they have a chance in hell in the playoffs to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Philly,
and also they haven't done anything in 25 years, and it's not like Jason Garrett. It's not like Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett is not going. Yeah, now Dougie P. Yeah, Dougie P can get them going, get Philly going, and rally troops. Jason Garrett cannot do that. So for me, the lesser of the two evils is the Cowboys in the postseason. So I love that the Giants. I love that the Giants have that opportunity. I'm still waiting for Mark Holmes to bend the knee for me. I'll be more than happy to help Cowboy fans find themselves into the postseason. But I just feel like if the Giants can go out there on Sunday, put up a really nice performance and beat Philly, and do it with Daniel Jones, that could potentially turn the rivalry around for the Giants, because you remember the last few victories that the Eagles have over the Giants has been all with Eli Manning starting at quarterback.
Yeah, and they've been heartbreaking games.
Yes,
you know
they have been, and so
yeah, and I just and Eagles fans travel and they come into the Giants stadium and they don't fear playing the New York Giants anymore. They don't, and that needs to change.
yes. Well, here's one thing that I hope that gets accomplished on Sunday, other than the Giants actually winning the game. I hope that if the Giants win the game, the Giants fan base hardens up a little bit, because the fan base itself right now is softer than butter. And I understand the multiple seasons of losing have been wearing on them, and they've completely forgot about the fact that we were able to go to the postseason in 2016. They just have a mentality now that is very, very weak, very weak. And we have got
1,000%.
we have got to, as a fan base, get back to being a tough fan base that gives a damn about the team, whether they're winning or they're losing. You can obviously make your feelings felt if the season's not going well. However, to suggest that Saquon Barkley should sit when the season's over is silly. To suggest that Alex Tanney should play if Daniel Jones couldn't go is silly. To suggest that the Giants should lose so that they could lust over some kid in college is silly. The idea of this fan base needs to be about winning. And I understand that we've had a couple coaches come in here and it hasn't been done. But they've just got to get to a point that understanding that this is about winning, and this is what the Giants need to do on Sunday.
And that's a prideful tradition.
It is prideful.
It's a prideful organization. It's not like the New York Jets. It's not like the Washington Redskins, Cincinnati, or Detroit. We have history. We're built on defense and toughness. We have great rivalries, and this is an old traditional, franchise, and that's why I love the New York Giants.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing.
And the Giants fans, they become so soft, absolutely, with just getting obsessed over kids like Dwayne Haskins or whether it was Odell Beckham and saying, "Come save us." All those Giants fans, and I think it's social media, insulting Gettleman, saying that they're going to be Cleveland Browns fans before the season. The fan base, absolutely. Some of them have really left, and the real true ones got to stay and be consistent. And you're 1,000% right on this soft, because once you get in the tank mode and you're just content with losing and you think that one guy is going to get you out of the hole like Chase Young, then you're going to be drafting every year and you're just going to turn into a loser. So you got to have pride in your work.
Well, I know personally,
have pride in your work.
Yeah, exactly. Personally, my channel suffers from having Giants pride, because a lot of YouTubers, at least the ones that want content, they leech on to those that have that mentality of, oh, Chase Young, and
Selves. Yep.
they go to that content because they like that negative feeling of, yeah, we need to make change. They don't want to have any pride in what's going on right now. And that hurts my channel. So when I celebrate a win, for example, yesterday, because I'm happy that we're winning, I'm happy that we actually have a winning streak, because right now we're on a 2-game winning streak, whether it means anything or not. That's exciting. That makes me happy to see the Giants.
I felt like we were cursed.
I did too. I thought for a minute there we couldn't win a game.
Like Top, did you feel like that Tiki Barber picture or something in that man cave was like bad luck or something? Were you thinking about like changing things?
No, I've seriously been thinking that my little baby doll is a curse, because since she's been born, I could literally count on 2 hands how many wins the Giants have. So I don't know. So I mean, they don't understand that, like, at some point winning cures all.
It's been a nightmare. It felt like 10 years.
Yeah, it felt like 10 years since the Giants won. Winning cures all. That's what does the curing, is winning. It's not a certain player. It's not. And another thing too is you cannot. I understand that sometimes. I don't understand that we're all sports fans and we like multiple different things. We like different sports. Some people like college football. Some people like the NBA, college basketball, Major League Baseball. You cannot blend sports with other sports. The NBA, because there's only five gentlemen on the floor at a time, yeah, one player can make a difference to an organization. However, in the National Football League, one player can only do so much.
Correct.
They need to stop thinking that the National Football League is the National Basketball Association because it is not. There is, LeBron James can move teams and help that team get better. Anthony Davis can move teams and help that team get better. That can happen at some extent in the NFL, but it doesn't happen as like you think it happens. It's all about a 53-man roster and building the whole team rather than just having one player. They've fallen into that problem because of OBJ. OBJ was an NBA player on an NFL team. And here's the thing, nobody wants to eat crow about OBJ supposedly going to have a big year in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield. He hasn't done squat. I mean, seriously. I mean, I honestly feel it feels like to me OBJ's been forgotten.
They'll just say Mayfield sucks. That you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But OBJ has been forgotten. He's literally there. Nobody's even talking about him. I mean, ESPN doesn't talk about him. Anytime they do, it's if he does something crazy negative. But how many big plays have you seen OBJ make this year? How many big plays? And everybody said, well, Eli Manning's the problem with OBJ. Eli Manning is the reason why OBJ doesn't have any shine. Well, here's Baker Mayfield. Everybody loved Baker, and what has happened? I haven't seen anything. So it's amazing to me how nobody eats crow for all the crap that they said about Eli and how OBJ was being held back, this and that. Yet he's been a ghost in Cleveland this year. Nobody eats crow though.
Yeah, Cop, while we're still on the phone here doing this very special show, I want to talk all about the Giants coaching candidates. That's what I really want to talk about.
Okay, so yeah, well then let's get to the. So you are for sure. Do you think Shurmur's gone or not?
If he beats the Eagles, I really think Shurmur. Now, this is not what I want because I probably do want Shurmur gone myself.
Okay.
I've been saying it since the Cardinals game that this team has been lifeless. You talk to me all the time. I've said, Shurmur's just a dud. And even yesterday, Cop, what really pissed me off was just Shurmur not even using the timeouts at the end of the game. He's not aggressive like Doug Peterson. But if they beat the Eagles, I think Shurmur has a really good chance to be back.
Okay.
If they don't even beat Philly, but Jones continues to do well, Shurmur again will have an opportunity to be back.
I will say this: I don't want to affect Daniel Jones too bad. So if firing Shurmur affects Daniel Jones, I'm a little nervous about that. But let's just assume, for sake, that Shurmur is gone. Tell me about your candidates.
So the candidates that I would then look at, I think Matt Rule is 1,000% the number one candidate. Clear-cut choice.
Okay.
From New York, he has New York roots, and he's great at defense. And what we need, Cal Pizzle, is we need the defense to understand what the hell to do. So Matt Rule, he knows everything about defense. He's coached every position, and he turns projects into goals. And Matt Rule would be a coach that would be here for 12 years. So he's number one on my list for sure.
Okay. College coaches make me a little nervous, I'll be honest.
But then let's look at the NFL names that you could strategically get. I think that then you look at Ron Rivera, who I think is a decent hire, probably an upgrade over Shurmur, but I don't know if he's absolutely fantastic. So work well with Dave Gettleman. So Rivera, I still like Lincoln Riley. So I like those three guys. And then another guy said, I'll give you two more names, and then you can start listing your guys. I think Steve Belichick would be fascinating, and then we get Bill Belichick from that. I think that would actually be an incredible move because he is a secondary coach. and he knows how to coach the defensive backfield. That's the most important thing, Cal, is we need a defensive specialist in terms of teaching quarterbacks how not to give up big plays. That's what we need. So Steve Belichick, and then the last one to think about is kind of off the beaten path as well, but Brent Venables at Clemson might be a great example.
Oh, I don't. So you're really on the college thing.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what good NFL coaches are really out there that you're picking up? I mean, let's hear your list.
Well, I don't look. I'll be honest with you. I haven't really made a big push to look at potential candidates. I'll be the first to tell you. Okay. I've just been
paying attention to the year.
Well, I mean, I know the names. I know Matt Rule. I know he was actually with the Giants for 1 year as, I believe, an offensive lineman assistant, which I believe in 2012. I remember him going to Temple, and I tell you, I know that he's went and helped turn that Baylor program around, but I know that Matt Rule at Temple really, and I know that they kind of said this, but they talked about being Temple tough. And those teams that he was coaching, they were tough. There's no question about it. Those Temple teams were pretty tough. So I like that. Now I just get nervous about him, but maybe he is a good coach because obviously he's went to Temple and did some good things. He's went to Baylor. Baylor was potentially in the national championship mix for a little bit. So they've done some pretty good things.
NFL experience too.
He has a little NFL experience. It's just sometimes college coaches. I mean, how many college coaches have you seen that actually worked? I don't really know if Pete Carroll counts because he was obviously an NFL.
You're right, but a lot of the college coaches, they run like a crazy scheme. Whether it was Steve Spurrier, the up-tempo scheme, Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
Now Nick Saban did run into a lot of trouble, but Saban stayed with Drew Brees. I really think.
Yeah, if Saban would have had Brees, he'd have been fine. I think. Yeah.
You need to find a guy who's very good X's and O's wise, because there's a lot of great college coaches that are just kind of motivators. Like even Dabo Swinney, he probably wouldn't even make that good of an NFL coach because he's more of a recruiter. He's a motivator. Mm-hmm. You know, he's not an X's and O's complete beast. You know, so those are good points about college coaches and X's and O's.
Well, here's what I will say about NFL guys. I watched that Ravens team, and they really impressed me. And I kind of have my eyes on Greg Roman. And the reason is because he did good things while in San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick as his quarterback, for goodness sakes. I don't think Colin Kaepernick was all that good. And he's now taking Lamar Jackson, and I'm not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson here, but he's been able to create an offense for both of those guys to be successful. And I can only imagine what he could do with a guy like Daniel Jones. So and then plus the way that Baltimore Ravens team has been built, the toughness of it, almost a little thuggish, but in a good way. I would like to duplicate that because that style looks like it works definitely for a northeastern kind of team.
Tough football.
Yeah, it's tough football. Exactly.
I love it. Swag is what
they've got tons of swag. Now, obviously, Lamar Jackson is being an MVP caliber player. Maybe he's just a special player. That's.
He has a lot of camaraderie. Now I'll definitely push back about Greg Roman. If Greg Roman was some kind of savant, I think that Greg Roman might have a coordinator's personality.
You think so?
Why, yes, because that's kind of like Mike Pettin, who's a good DC for the Packers, very good defensive coordinator.
I like him too.
And also that offense is a little hokey, or it's not hokey, but you need a Kaepernick or a Lamar Jackson, a special athlete. We're not going to be running Daniel Jones. So, and then Greg Roman too. Is he a CEO? Can he lead defense? I would get scared about that.
Well, here's the thing. I just look at it, and your resume is, and you're right. Maybe it could be a little gimmicky, But your resume is you made Colin Kaepernick and Lamar Jackson both look good. That's a good resume. Now Lamar Jackson's a better.
Tyrod Taylor though, and Buffalo, and those worked for a little bit of time, but also Greg Roman hasn't stayed in one spot that long. And like I would love to see Roman do this for 4 years when the defenses continue to adjust to this special offense.
Well, here's the thing, and I think this is, we can debate this all night. That's the one thing that's a little bit nerve-wracking about letting Shurmur go, because we're basically putting it in the hands of John Mayer again to go out and hire candidates who may not be slam dunks. And especially if Jason Garrett is an option, like that's really scary. That's a scary, scary option, whether it's real news or fake news. So to me, if you're going to replace Pat Shurmur, you better have a slam dunk kind of feeling that this team is going to improve and not go backwards.
Here's the interesting thing, Top. All right, I've really been thinking about this in my head for a while, especially after yesterday. Shurmur, against the Redskins, he impressed me calling plays a little bit. His timeouts and his motivating skills are not very good.
They're not there.
So Shurmur's kind of bland, right? He's a bland coach. But one thing is about the Giants, they don't like firing coaches, right? And I will say this about Shurmur. Like when Shurmur got rid of Odell Beckham, or when some of Shurmur's post-game pressers are not terrible. Like he does preach toughness. The locker room seems to really like the guy. So here's what I'm going to say. If your first couple candidates are not available, and the Giants brass already is probably interviewing Matt Rule and Ron Rivera and some of the candidates. But if those candidates are not available, the Giants should absolutely not reach on a head coach. Then they should play it safe, because you don't want to fire Shurmur, have to pay his buyout. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just want to take a number, you don't just want to, impulsively force a number higher. So let's get Leslie Frazier, or a defensive coordinator that's very qualified, and pay him a ton of money. You know what I mean?
Well, I've heard
that could really be a decent option if the first couple options aren't available. And John Mara and the Giants, they better already know what Matt Rule, what Ron Rivera. They already should know what the interest is for these guys if they're going to fire Pat. You know?
Well, the other thing too is, and I've heard some people talk about this. How desirable is the Giant job? To me, I think Matt Rule, and obviously I'm talking out of my ass here. I don't know for sure, but I think Matt Rule would really want that Giants job, just because of where he's from. He's been with the organization before. I would think that would be his number one job. So if they felt like they could get him, and they thought he was a better fit than, let's say, Pat Shurmur, then absolutely. And I think it's possible. A lot of Giant fans have talked about Ron Rivera and Ron Rivera this and Ron Rivera that. I'm not so sure that Ron Rivera would desire the Giants job. I think there's going to be other options on the table that he might be able to pick from, and I'm not so sure that the Giants would be the number one on his list. So that's why.
Put it this way: if I was a coach candidate, it's not because I'm just a Giants fan. All these other franchises kind of suck. I mean, let's call it how it is. You have the Redskins, you have the Carolina Panthers, an expansive franchise. Jacksonville Jaguars, expansion and failed franchise. Sorry, UCF Jaguars, but the New York Giants are classic. And even with Shurmur and McAdoo, this ownership stays by its coaches. It's loyal. Daniel Jones is a young quarterback. Saquon Barkley got good character guys, cap space. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I don't know why someone wouldn't want that job.
No, I think it is a desirable job.
Cowboys, if you go to the Cowboys, you got Dax, got Jerry Jones, tons. You really have some crucial decisions immediately.
Well, I will say this. I do wonder amongst the coaching landscape, or the football people, football operations people, if the Cowboy job is open, and I think it will be if Jason Garrett doesn't find a way to get himself in the playoffs, and the Giants job is open, Which job is more desirable, the Cowboy job or the Giant job?
Boy, that's tough because I got to admit the Cowboys are one of the best franchises. I mean, they have a ton of money. I know we hate the Cowboys, but it still is a great fan base stadium, and I just think that the Cowboys too have talent. That's the only job that will rival the Giants. You know?
Yes. I'll say this too. I know
but
that.
You know what? If living in Texas or living in New York, they shouldn't even be comparable. It's what style guy are you?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Spence. Is that it's really hard to sit here and assume that somebody would take that job when you don't really know what their personal preferences are in life. You know, somebody might look at Jerry Jones and think, well, that's a turnoff for me. But some people may look at that and say, well, that guy's going to give me everything that I want. So I like that job. You know, some people some coaches might look at that stadium and say, oh, I want to coach under those lights. And some people may say, well, I don't want to coach in New Jersey, or I don't want to be around New York. I don't want to be around all that. So to me, it's all about the person. It's hard to speculate who would want what. But
I have to.
What about
if Matt Rule really wants the job?
I think, and see, Matt Rule, I think
he might want Gettleman to take a back seat. And if the coach is that good, as much as I love Dave Gettleman, it would have to take a special coach for me to be on board with Dave Gettleman taking a step back.
Yeah, that's another thing. I want to give him some. I think I want to give some credit on that. Chris, the entertainer, has mentioned that to me, talking to him, and I know he's talked about it on his channel. He thinks, and I don't think I'm quoting him wrong here, but he thinks that Gettleman could be a turnoff to certain other coaches. That if they look at the Giant job and Gettleman is staying with the Giants, that he could actually deflect coaches from wanting to come here, which I think is a possibility. I mean, I don't think that that's completely silly to think that is wrong.
I think it's got to be a special coach to unseat Dave, because Dave Gettleman's the guy who's building this plan. We both really like Gettleman, and Gettleman has insight on these players. So,
well, here's the thing: if people look at the record and they assume that, well, this is Gettleman's fault. But again, as we've mentioned, you look at some of the splash pickups, and I want to talk about Big Cat next. I want to talk about him next. But you look at some of these pickups, the big ones at least. I think he's hit them out of the park on those. The small ones, like I said, like I've mentioned.
I mean, the corners at the defense needs to start rounding in the shape.
But they're not. What I'm saying is they're not the big. They're not the big picks.
But for all the people who want to crap on the deep shoulder or the Alec Ogletree, the guy has no money to spend. The guy has like no money. He really doesn't.
Well, this will be his first.
Golden Tate looks pretty good. But even, like, I will admit, Jabril Peppers did not play well this year. Antoine Buffet did not play well. Marcus Golden was a good signing, but Kareem Martin has done nothing.
Talk to me.
So it's not like the free agents are even that good, but he hasn't really had a big pile of money for free agents.
Well, he's going to have this.
The free agents are not good.
Well, yeah, he hasn't hit on the free agents. There's no question about that. So, talk to me about where do you stand as far as wanting to? Do you want the Giants to, give a nice contract to Leonard Williams, Big Cat, or are you not? Would you like to see him walk? Personally, I think the Giants should pick him up, because I understand that the sacks aren't there, but he's done some tremendous things, in my opinion, when he's been on the field. And I would like to see him in Big Blue next season.
Part of the reason I said to you, Top, that I wanted a tremendous and fast, and a guy like Isaiah Simmons, or a really fast, pass rusher on the edge, is because the middle of the defense is solidified. We were aggressive with the Jets for the third-round pick, so I don't want to see Leonard completely leave. And Leonard is a talent, and in the run game, he is fantastic. His pressures are up, by the way. So even if he's not getting a sack, which is what everybody's obsessed with,
Mm-hmm.
he's still getting pressure. And the other thing I love about Leonard Williams is from all accounts, he's a really good locker room guy, important, good chemistry. I'm with you. I love the D-line. And I think Leonard Williams on the open market, though, I think it's going to cost you about 14 or 15 million. I really do.
Well, that's why I don't. It's why honestly I'm not.
But I'm in. I'll take it.
I'll
say yes, but we are going to be overpaying.
Talking about the D line, that's why I haven't lost my mind about losing potentially Chase Young, because I honestly feel like this front line it has talent, is going to get better. Dexter Lawrence is going to get better. Big Cat can play a role. To me, it's all about I can't stand the fact that we still have yet to find some good linebackers for ourselves. And I'm not talking about the edge guys. I'm talking about the middle linebackers for us. Ryan Connolly was having a pretty good year before he got hurt. Alec Ogletree has done nothing for the Giants since he showed up. I really had big hopes for Lorenzo Carter this year. He's been a ghost. To me, we have to find that talent in that middle of the field. I think we've got it in our second. I think we have talent now in our secondary. These guys just have to grow and gain more experience. But that middle linebacker position, or whether we stay in a 3-4 or move to a 4-3, that has got to improve this offseason.
Yeah, that's why I think that Simmons from Clemson will be huge. He's like a Devin White kid. But, to your point about, like, Chase Young, I absolutely do think, though, Cop, that the Giants, I mean, how many times this year have you been watching, even yesterday, slow Dwayne Haskins or Aaron Rodgers? The middle will get a push, but you need a really fast guy that is a hunter. And Lorenzo Carter is not that consistent guy.
Yeah, he's not.
You do need an edge rusher with speed. Look at Von Miller. These guys aren't even that big. They're just so athletic, fast, twitchy. That's what the Giants really, really need. And I'm a little worried about Ryan Connolly because he had 2 good games, but I think that the fan base now might be completely just penciling him in as an all-star when I definitely need to see more from him.
Well, he needs more experience too, absolutely.
Yeah, everyone's penciling him in. I will say this, the linebacker is a forgotten position in the NFL. And look at the Dallas Cowboys. They have Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch. They're not that successful. I know San Francisco has good linebackers. You pretty much need one alpha stud linebacker. That's what you need in this league.
Yeah, we don't have one.
Because you'll play a lot of nickel defense. You'll play a lot of slot corners.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. We don't have one. We don't have a special linebacker on this team. That's the one thing that I wish the Giants had was a special player to play linebacker.
And the Giants just need, what they need? Yesterday they were giving up first downs. There's no real intensity or accountability. The Giants need dogs on that defense. This team needs a real heartbeat, a real leader on that defense.
Well, that's another thing is the Giants too. That's another thing that they have got to figure out this offseason. Who are the leaders on this team? They have no leaders. Daniel Jones is looking like another Eli Manning where he's not going to be a rah-rah guy. He's just going to go out there and play and let his play speak for himself. Saquon Barkley can only do so much on the offensive, but who is the guy on the defensive side? We don't have those guys. Those guys, somebody has got to step up and become the leader. Michael Strahan was that guy. Antonio Pierce was that guy. We need those guys. Justin Tuck was that guy. We need those guys to step up, and somebody needs to step up and become a leader, especially on this defense, before next season can even be thought of.
I want to think through agents to sign, continue to sign. I know we've tried.
That's the one thing we have to do with our money in the free agency.
We tried to sign Ogletree and Jabril Peppers. Ogletree was supposed to be the leader.
Yes, hasn't happened.
Michael Thomas is a really good speaker. He's a great guy. He's just not a good player.
Yeah, just the talent. He's a special teamer.
He's a damn good leader. I actually think, Evan Ingram. The Giants have good kids all around, but you're absolutely. The defense does need, like, you look at the Baltimore Ravens, and or a Kyle Van Noy on the Patriots. Yeah, you look at every good team, they have leaders.
Yeah, every good team.
Richard Shurmur's a heck of a leader. Saying a lot of stuff about Shurmur.
Every good team has a defensive leader, somebody that is leading the charge for that defense. I mean, it's just, that's how football has always worked. I mean, Ray Lewis for many years was such a key part in leading that Ravens team to be able to be successful. The Patriots always have somebody on their defense leading the charge.
And it's unacceptable to give up big play. It's unacceptable to fail like the Giants have had.
Yeah, and well, that nobody has had any accountability. And again, a lot of what's happened this year has been because of inexperience, and we've been playing a lot of young guys who have not played many, have not had many games, on their list that they've played in their career. But when you go into next season, somebody's got to step up. Janoris Jenkins could have been that guy for us, and he never ended up being that guy. So there's Olivier Vernon could have been that guy. He wasn't that guy. He ended up getting traded. Snacks could have been that guy, and Snacks played great. I still to this day don't think Snacks did anything wrong. We just had to get him. We needed to move on from him because I don't think he had a future with the team. But I feel like Gettleman's getting the right pieces in here. We're just going to have to make sure that we have a good free agency and pick up another pretty good draft. Because I think our draft a year ago was good. I still think that the 3 first rounders that we got, Daniel Jones, Dexter Lawrence, DeAndre Baker. I think obviously DeAndre Baker has been scrutinized at times, but I think he's had some really good games this year at times. I think Dexter Lawrence has made a nice impact, and obviously Daniel Jones has played great. So
yeah,
there's some good things to make of this season.
Well, Sam Beal can maybe be good. Julian Love is a rim hitter. He's really made instinctive plays. It's just about reps. But yeah, I like Julian Love.
And if you put another, give a Dino, I think I said his name right. He was in the chat. Want to give him some props. He said that put another pretty good safety with Jabril Peppers, and you've got a pretty good safety tandem back there. Which
don't they want Love to be the safety?
Yeah, well, if Julian Love can work out, then that's great. I don't know how. I don't know what they.
The forgotten man is the X-Man. I always forget about that.
Yeah, the X-Man is a kind of a forgotten man. The thing with Julian Love is I don't know how the Giants defensive coaches or even next year's coaches, how they view Julian Love, if they've been excited about the way he's played. Now I will say this, from the little that we've seen of him, because both him, Sam Beal, and Ballantyne, the 3 of those guys, they've been getting a lot of play the last couple games, but they're still relatively new to the field this year, because about the halfway mark, we hadn't seen a lot of those guys this year, and I think Julian Love has played really good the times he has been played. He made a sensational play that I was the Monday night game that I was streaming, and I was raving about how well he played that game. And I think Ballantyne, he made some mistakes yesterday in Sunday's game. And I think Sam Beal's growing. So this secondary, if they all come together, you give them 2 years from now, I think it could be a special group.
Boy, that's also, I give you credit because that's thinking with a glass half full. Because there's another whole group that just thinks that these are complete busts everywhere.
I don't think so. I don't think they're complete busts.
A lot of people are saying that James Bettcher can do all he can, but that the secondary is just all misses. They're saying that Baker is probably not going to pan out. That all these kids are definitely the Giants definitely need these kids to somehow be successful. The quarterback. Because a lot of people are thinking, what the Giants need is in the secondaries. That would be awful to continue to draft young corners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on. We've addressed that position so hard, and I guess hopefully it's just reps
Absolutely. So Spencer, we're going to get ready to close this thing down. We went over just over an hour. Do you want to where do you so your channel, for those that anybody that might be subscribing to your channel from watching this or subscribing now, what are your plans for your channel as we head into the playoffs and the off season? What do you got anything cool that you're planning, or anything that that you got on your mind in the next couple months?
Yeah, well, I have this cool new streaming software, Tom. You know, I could tell you about it, and I'll tell the people about it on my YouTube channel. But it allows like people like yourself and other people to like video chat into my streams, into like a live stream. So I'm planning on just having a lot of hangouts, not necessarily like broadcasting games, but you know, going over the playoff picture, reacting to some of these games. And there'll be some interesting quarterback reviews I'll do, like Josh Allen, Jimmy Garoppolo. There'll be some you know, real interesting, you know, film reviews I'll try to do on my channel about these playoffs. So I am excited for the NFL playoffs. So,
all right. Well, Spence, man, I appreciate talking to you. I appreciate you coming on. I hope everybody enjoyed Spencer and I having a little Giants football discussion. We'll have to do it again in the future. You are the only person outside. Well, you're the only person on YouTube that I've had come into my man cave here. I've had you. We've done a video here, so you are in rare company as far as that goes. Spencer, I will say this. I will say this. I'll tell a funny story. Spencer, you know, I know I have, I believe it or not, Spencer, like I still can't believe it, but I do have some fans that watch my channel that enjoy my content. But Spencer and I spent, probably, what was it, 30 minutes, maybe an hour throwing football out in my front yard. Like we had a good time. Spencer came to Nashville and we hung out and, went to the draft.
Oh, you could throw the ball.
Yeah, do you want to say I'm not a bad thrower, right?
You're a good athlete, man. You're a damn good athlete. The house is well kept.
Yeah, the house is well kept.
The lawn is mowed. I mean, it's a wonderful place.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, we had a good time throwing the rock out in the front yard. You know, we didn't make any too bad passes. We didn't have anybody honk at us and tell us to get out of the road or anything like that. We just threw the rock around, ran a few routes.
But I was pretty starstruck when I went in the man.
Yeah, in the hub here. Yeah, you were here. We made a sensational video. We had a great time. We had a lot of fun. I know I had a lot of fun with you at the draft. Your dad treated me.
Oh, yeah.
Your dad. What did we eat that night?
And yeah, I've never seen. Yeah, the glasses just stay on. You know.
The glasses stay on. Yeah, we threw the rock with the shades on.
The glasses just stay on.
Yeah, they just stay on. They're glued on. I can't take the shades off.
No, they're a part of you. Yes.
Yeah, they're a part. But we had a good time.
Nashville's amazing, man, and
yeah,
just it's a special place, and yeah, I just love every time we get to hang out.
Yeah, we've always had it.
Me and you, we were Daniel Jones troopers from day one, man, and it was meant to be. You know, last year in Nashville.
Yeah, I know. I know. You were actually one of the first people that got, I guess, my reaction to Daniel Jones, because I hadn't even put it on YouTube yet. Obviously we live streamed together the Dexter Lawrence pick. We had a good time. We had a good time with that. And anyways, we've had a great time together off of YouTube and having fun. But I wanted to tell that story for those that was watching, that we threw the rock out in the front yard like a bunch of kids and ran some routes and had a good time and just had some fun, and that you were in rare company. Because I know there's a lot of people.
Watch some movies.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that probably watch my content that would love to come in this room and just take a sledgehammer to it. And so, and so,
well, you know what? You talk about the PayPal. You got to auction off a chance to spend the whole day with Cobb and Dave throw the football. Yeah, I bet that'll go for thousands of dollars. I was living the dream.
yeah, I just need to auction off and spend it hanging out with Pizzle. Yeah, that's what I definitely, that might sell like hotcakes. But
freaking NASCAR characters you're rocking, the random horse race.
I got a lot of. Hey, you can tell that you're more. I have a lot of fun going on here, don't I?
The Egyptian, you horse races from Egypt on your TV. It's a wild place. It's definitely a fun place, and yes, it was. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, anyways, Spencer's a great guy. You guys should definitely go and subscribe to his channel. I personally I really enjoy when he does the QB the film reviews. Those are my favorite. I think he does great work on that, and so you definitely should go subscribe to his channel. And hopefully this off season, Spence, we can get together again and hang out and do some more videos and whatnot. And definitely do some more collabing in the future, and of course do something here on YouTube again.
No, and it's nice. It is nice. It really is hanging out with yourself, and I know the Giants Mafia. Like, it's really nice you had Chris the Entertainer on the show, and we're talking about some fun stuff, man. I mean, the draft's in Vegas. It's fun to dream, and maybe we'll definitely take some road trips out with the team and everything.
I'm definitely trying to put together this off season a roundtable Giants discussion, and that's going to have a couple of Giants YouTubers, and I'm definitely going to want you to be a part of that. And I think that would be really a big thing for the Giants community here on YouTube, and I think it would be.
Yeah.
I think it would be.
And if we can meet up, that would.
The possibilities are endless. So
yeah,
I just want to once again.
Merry Christmas, brother.
Absolutely, Merry Christmas.
Thanks so much, man.
Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to everybody watching.
Let's beat Philly, man. Let's do it.
Let's beat Philly, and I will definitely hang on the line here, Spence. I'm gonna shut this stream down, but I will be making some more videos this week. I'm sure Spencer will have some videos as well, so go check him out. But be looking out for some content. I'm going to be pumping out some this week and some stuff I think you guys will really like. Got some ideas. And so, anyways, thanks again, and I will see you guys later this week.